Hello.
Hey. Welcome.
What's up?
Happy Friday. How's it going?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing? Where are you calling from? What are you drinking?
I'm calling from Denver and I have tea.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm calling from Bend, Oregon. I have some coffee.
Nice.
Cool. Nice. Been
Where
to
you
Denver, never to Bend. There's a really great restaurant in Denver, City.
Yep, I live walking distance from there.
Oh, very cool. Nice.
Very close.
Every time I go, I try to go there.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
Yummy stuff.
Good vegetarian food.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Morgan.
Hey, Morgan.
Hey guys, happy
Hey.
Friday.
Have
It
you
is.
started the
Happy
new
Friday.
job yet?
Sorry, what?
Have you started the new job yet?
I start on Monday.
Oh, fun. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was searching for like 16 weeks, so it's a good long search.
Yeah.
Had its ups and downs and frustrations, but yeah, thank you guys for supporting me along the way and yeah, encouraging my climate design journey.
Awesome.
Super thankful. I was gonna tag you, like I said in my post, but I don't think you have. I don't think we were connected yet, and then I'm not sure that you guys have the LinkedIn set up. So
Yeah, Climate Designers doesn't have a LinkedIn yet, and people keep telling us we should.
Are we that professional?
I mean, I guess definitely. I think so. If
I
we've
just
got
don't-
people like Carly put climate designer in her cover letter as her title or her expected desired title. So it's definitely becoming professional networking-esque.
Yeah. I just don't feel like running another social media account.
I know we could find somebody else who wants to do that, I guess.
That's a great idea, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, Lindsay.
Hello.
Happy Friday.
How's
Happy
Seattle?
Friday.
It's LA.
Seattle's beautiful and sunny. Getting warm today.
Nice. Love a good sunny day in Seattle.
Seriously. We're getting more of them than we used to get.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's good for you for now.
I know, sometimes I feel guilty. I'm like kind of enjoying the weather perks of the climate changing because Seattle's getting nicer summers than we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose you might as well enjoy it.
Exactly.
How are you doing, Rachel?
Good. As you were talking about that, I was like, it's probably going to be hot here and I should just suck it up and use my air conditioning. I have like this little roll around air conditioning, and like in the afternoon it's like, oh, my computer is not working, everything's breaking down. But again, like, I'm guilty, I don't want to use that much electricity. Yeah.
You're not going to single-handedly solve climate change, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm not air conditioning an entire 80 floor office building that no one is using. So I'm not taking, that personal onus when it should be corporations and governments that are so much more wasteful.
Scale your personal guilt to the level of impact you're making.
That's a great guideline.
Right?
There's an episode recently of How to Save a Planet where maybe it was one of their older episodes, but basically it was like, does your carbon footprint matter at all? And basically it like your impact as a percentage of like global carbon emissions, like if you do every single thing that's recommended like perfectly, it's 0.000000003%.
Yes.
Like that is 9 zeros. You are like
9 zeros.
smaller than a rounding error in like global like climate emissions. Like just don't sweat that. Go after the systems,
Don't sweat it. I mean, yes, everybody's contribution does add up, but like the amount of guilt that I'm hearing Rachel talk about her entire air conditioning problem. I don't know that we're balancing that, in the scope of things.
Yeah,
So
just
instead of
scale your
beating
guilt. I
ourselves
like
up-
it.
Yeah, instead of beating ourselves up and feeling guilty, let's just, focus our energy on making a bigger impact further up the chain.
For sure.
Yeah, I saw a great thing this morning, like this post that was saying something about like, we're acting like climate change is individual responsibility. We're acting like the pandemic is individual responsibility. And every time that we take individual responsibility, it takes the blame off of the systems that are actually creating it. So.
Yes. Who are you letting off the hook by taking on all that guilt?
Well, and it's also a distraction too. Now, here's one more thing I or my family or whoever is in my personal life has to, consider, and it just distracts us from living a flourishing, thriving, beautiful life because we have all this bullshit stuff that we've been given that we didn't ask for.
Yes.
So anyway, I want to call out, I think Misty and Juliana, this might be your first time joining us.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, welcome.
very excited. Yeah.
We keep things light here, but we can also go really deep in these coffee breaks.
I'm here for both. Yeah.
I'm here for both.
How did you both hear about climate designers?
Gosh, I was doing some digging on climate jobs and I'm trying to remember how I found the link. But yeah, somewhere out there when I was doing research and I was super excited about it and just dove right in. So yeah, because I was having a lot of, just eco anxiety and feeling overwhelmed and finally taking some steps to apply it, not just in lifestyle and personal life, but in career choice. So
Nice.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, similar. So I'm a new UX designer, and before I got started, I wanted to make sure that whatever career path I chose, so this was like the middle of last year, could be in alignment with my values. And so in the hunt, one of the things that, once I found UX, I'm like, okay, well, how are people using it and what are people doing? And so I found, I'm not sure where I found the group posted, but I'm a part of like a few Slack channels. And I'm sure it was in one of those. So yeah, just excited to see. I joined because I was excited to see like how people are using design to solve these problems, and I am hoping to find work in this field as well. I'm kind of open to any section of it, but I think regenerative agriculture like really pulls to me. But there's like very few companies out there right now that are like doing that work. So just part of like, finding out what's out there and just getting my foot in the door somewhere and meeting other people who are excited about doing the same thing. I think this is great.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the number of companies that are out there doing really impactful work in regenerative agriculture or making circular products or doing some of that really cutting edge stuff. There's very few of them, and I absolutely want there to be more of them. And in the meantime, we all still have to get jobs. And so one of the things that we've been talking a lot about lately is, as a climate designer, where you take your career, it's totally awesome to start a business and only focus on those clients. But sometimes we've found that there's just not enough of them. And, looking for a job that's only working for a good company, that's been kind of a thing that I've been thinking about for a long time. Like, what if none of the companies that are polluting or that don't have a strong mission, what if none of them could find anyone to work for them anymore? They would crumble. The fossil fuel industry is absolutely having a recruitment problem with the younger generation starting their careers, and they have no desire to go and work for a fossil fuel company. And so that's absolutely amazing that there's so many people that are out there looking for jobs and like starting that job search in a climate cutting edge technology field. And then at the same time, I think about working at a company that, you know, maybe is sort of sustainably minded, but they're making commercial products. And these companies that are hiring and have, you know, we have a lot of them, and it is easy, especially as a newer designer, to get a job in a larger company like that. And it's probably a good place to learn from other designers, and it's a good place to practice working with a lot of people in design and those influence and persuasion skills that are going to be so important. And you might be able to even push the company towards even more sustainable practices. And so it's possible that you might even be able to have more of an impact at a regular company. And that totally depends on you and your personality and where you are and your economic standing and like all of the things. It's a personal choice. And so I don't want to go out there and say you all can't even call yourselves climate designers unless you work for X type of company. Absolutely not. Like, I think climate designers need to be absolutely everywhere. And, you know, it's kind of that same thing, like scale your amount of effort and energy and guilt and all that stuff with the amount of impact that you can make as an individual. Sometimes you can make a bigger impact at a bigger company, changing it from within, right?
That's definitely the career direction that I've taken, where I joined a little design consultancy that had like a tiny bit of sustainability stuff going on, but not really much. And like now we have a whole sustainability initiative and a task force. And I'm like brainstorming with my team on a weekly basis of how we can embed sustainability in all the project work that we do. So I basically like just found a company that would hire me, and now I'm making them sustainable, and it's really fun.
Love that.
Because you're asking the questions in those meetings and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's been an exciting ride, but it also like it requires a lot of courage, I would say, to go that route. Like you have to be willing to start those conversations, and it can feel very vulnerable to open that up. But the scariest conversations I've had have led to like most amazing outputs, so it's been worth it.
Yep,
That's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And even if like you have these scary conversations with your higher ups, you know, everyone is thinking about this in the back of their heads. I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore what's going on in the world when it comes to these natural disasters and all the charts and things. So I'm assuming that, you know, 90% of people have this in the back of their mind, and they might even just think about it in a more personal sense. And so someone like you, Lindsay, who brings it up in the workplace, they're like, oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Maybe we can do something in the professional sense. Right. So I think a lot of people just don't know that they can make that connection because they feel as if their companies aren't in that space, so they can't do anything at all.
Yeah,
But
and I've seen that. It's funny because often what the first thing they'll think of that our company can do is basically just like mimicking like the little tiny individual stuff that you're told to do. Like, oh, we can have reusable dishes instead of disposables in our kitchen. I'm like, no, we're going after our clients, guys. Like, I'm going after our 401k program so we can invest in like clean investments, you know. But people start with thinking about these like really tiny things because that's what they're used to thinking of as sustainable.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from Morgan, knowing that you just got a new gig. Like, where was that in your like job search, and even in the interview process? Like, did any of the stuff come up? And
yeah, so I actually
and tell us what you're up to.
I
don't think you shared what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be starting at Square as a interactive
Nice.
designer. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so excited. They were really, so my background, my career background is in like filmmaking and documentary film. I was an editor for many years, and someone referred me, and they actually like really wanted somebody with a background in storytelling and film to like come on board to help out in their restaurants marketing team, because in a design role, because they've really integrated video and storytelling like kind of into their product. Like it's a part of their ecosystem now. Like they've really embraced it. So they wanted somebody. So it just dovetailed and worked out great. And although it's not exactly like a climate design job. I'm really excited about talking with folks once I get it started, eventually, to figure out like, yeah, where I could make an impact with these kinds of things that we talk about here, like within that organization. And I know for a fact, since they're tied into strongly Bitcoin, that there's for sure somewhere within there that they want to make that attractive to young people who might want to sign up with Cash App and invest in that, because it's, that's a huge energy suck. And they're trying to figure out ways to make it less so. But like outside of that, like I'd just be interested to start thinking about and talking about with people in the organization, like what are they doing, like how can I be a part of sustainability, what that kind of stuff within Square. It's a fully remote position, so yeah, I think in like we're thinking about, on our own end, like switching over to clean energy. It's hard to think about like how to make an impact when it's such a like digital kind of job. But I mean, I'm sure you guys have great ideas around yeah, ways to approach folks at Square, like to start that conversation. So, and I think like at our coffee chat last Friday, you mentioned doing like a workshop or something around exactly this kind of thing, where we can like just discuss like and talk about like how to do just that, like bringing up climate design within our organizations wherever we are, because yeah, that makes a huge difference, just talking about it with people, and I'm excited. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that in the Midwest meetup this week, I think that was earlier this week, that was great. I mentioned that I got together with somebody in person here in Cincinnati who's also in climate designers. Her name is Haley Richreed, and we met up at Rheingeist and just like talked and got to know each other better. And like she's doing exactly that, where she works as well here, and she works in industrial design, and a lot of their clients are in the medical field, so there's a lot of like kind of necessary evil waste like that goes through that, like with that in that field, that she's really wanting to like Lindsay had mentioned, let's start with our clients, like get some sustainable materials together for them to have like a list right away that they can think about, like choose from, really bring it into our organization in a strong way. And they really love it. And she's taken this thing on, and it's like, yeah, they're really super on board with the initiative that she wants to start. So it's really encouraging to hear. And yeah, and it was cool to just get together with somebody in real life.
So cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of my good buddies is, I'm pulling up his profile now. I want to get his title right. I think he's the head of design and creative for Square Banking.
Okay.
So if you run across a guy named Andy Montgomery, tell him I said hi. And I will say that Square is doing stuff in the climate. They are aware, and they are doing things, and that's approaching this conversation with your team is not going to be an unheard of thing. So and then just to kind of riff off of what you said to those who are joining us for the first time and maybe watching later, yeah, we are offering training sessions for in-house design teams and small studios so that we can come in and train their designers to become climate designers. So still relatively new. We just finished our first client as kind of a prototype, and we're going to be putting together a landing page hopefully in the next couple of weeks so that we can start promoting it. But Square is definitely on my list because of my connection with Andy. But yeah,
Awesome.
that's so great. I'm so stoked for your next chapter,
Yeah.
and definitely keep us posted and
Thanks.
let us know how we can support you in your new role.
Yeah, I'm really super interested in doing that workshop with you all. And yeah, I just pulled him up on LinkedIn, so I'll try and connect. And yeah, that sounds all wonderful. Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think, like you were saying, just talking about it, just talking about your affiliation with climate designers or talking about your passion for sustainability. Maybe just introducing yourself and saying, yeah, and I'm also a part of climate designers. And they'll be like, what's that? Just that might make a huge impact. And just like describing yourself as somebody who is interested in climate solutions and climate action. And then that's sort of a snowball. It's like you push a little snowball down a hill and it starts building. And then when there's somebody else who has a sustainability initiative or idea and they want to bring people on board, they will definitely reach out to you because you've made yourself known as interested in that kind of thing. And it starts to, snowball from there. So you don't have to do this all on your own, but I think talking about it and making your interests known is very important.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm really excited to get started next week.
I'm excited for you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Mark and Sarah, I would love to hear a little bit about how that first training went.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to my mind is what we shared with them was probably not what they expected to hear. And I think that's because we make a very big effort to not say what the rest of the environmental movement is saying. And so I think that they expected us to come in and talk about how to make small changes here and there that are better for the environment. And I'm like, sorry to disappoint, but we talked about, big systemic changes. And I'm sure that talking about what we talked about in this group is not surprising, but I think it was just a little surprising to them because every time we left a session, I feel like there were questions about like, yeah, but what about like dark mode on our websites? Is that important? I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay.
so we had a handful of questions from the person who brought us in, and I think she gathered some of the questions from her team, and it was about a 8 or 9 person creative team, and all very engaged, really great people. They do amazing work, so I don't want to kind of overlook that. But every time, so we had the question on one slide, and then the next slide or the next few slides was our answer. And it definitely wasn't the answer that they thought they wanted to hear. We definitely dove deeper. And Lindsay, you were one of the people that joined our private podcast recording this past week, and it was kind of on that level, And so if anything, I feel like they definitely got bare minimum. We definitely responded to their specific questions, but we also at the same time really helped them expand their perspective on how to consider or even look at the types of questions that they're wanting answers to and start to think bigger in terms of the impact that really needs to happen, not only within their design team, but also with the clients that they serve. So yeah, I think it's going to go well. I think, Sarah and I have already started to think about, and again, this was a prototype, and the person who brought us in knew that too. And they were very willing to work with us and excited to work with us. So we definitely learned a lot, and I'm excited to, I think we have a debrief session next week, Sarah and I, about this first client, and yeah, excited to really dive in and offer this a bit more. So I think we need to play balance though. Sarah and I geek out on this big picture thinking, grad level stuff, and fist on the table, flag in the ground, calling out the bullshit that needs to be called out that no one's talking about, but also at the same time addressing those company specific needs and questions. But we're going to do it in our way, not in the way that they expect us to do it, because they can easily just Google stuff and get those questions, but we want to offer them something very different because of what we're seeing. And we've been in the space for 5 years. We've been knee deep in the design and climate space for many, many years now. And I'm not saying we're experts, but at least we're a bit further along and in our perspective on this journey. And so we want to share that for those who are kind of a bit behind us, so that we can all catch up. So
Yeah, it's I think the balancing act is people's emotional capacity to deal with how overwhelming and how all-encompassing our climate crisis really is. And if we talk about systemic change when people just want to know the small individual actions that they can make, it can be frustrating for some. And there were definitely a few people in the group who were really jazzed by the concept of redesigning everything and just looking at things from a new perspective. But then I think there were a few people who were a bit overwhelmed at the concept and really just wanted like a checklist of what to do and what not to do. And they'll come around eventually. It's just a little bit of our emotional system needs more time to get used to this bigger problem and how to wrap your brain around it and grapple it and deal with it.
I think, Juliana, I think you posted the project Inside Out on climate designers this week, and it's this lovely guide for like how to be an effective leader and like how to reflect on your leadership style in the environmental activism space. But I had some really good stuff in there about like leading with empathy and how to like help people cope with the emotions that come up. Because even if you're staying like positive and solutions focused, like those feelings are still there, even if they're a little bit more hidden. But there's some really nice thought there. So thanks, Juliana, for posting that. I've been really
I
enjoying
love
the site.
that. Check that out.
Yeah, it's great. I actually found it through a podcast called Good Together. I don't know if anyone's listened to that, but yeah, super helpful. They have like a quiz to see what your style is of communication and like leadership. So that was really helpful as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's like
Yeah,
a
check
good
it out.
resource.
Yeah, I'll post it over here in the chat.
Also, Sarah and Mark, you two kind of remind me of like the stories of people like plotting the French Revolution in like cafes around Paris. And like, I feel like that's your style to, to climate change. You're like, we're gonna overthrow everything, guys. It's gonna be amazing.
That's the goal.
And
Thanks.
it's through this network of designers that are everywhere, you know? So we all do our part.
Yeah, I'm in for some revolution. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't have time to waste to talk about, more, conversations about not to use plastic straws and shit. It's like, no, dude,
Yeah.
Go upstream. Seriously. It's like, yeah.
So it's called
And it goes-
projectinsideout.net for those listening at home later.
Yes, I'll put it in the show notes.
Very cool.
I think that's so cool that they named it after the Pixar movie, because I feel like when that came out, that was like a lot of people's first introduction to getting in touch with their own feelings. So yeah, I think that's amazing. There's another podcast that I listen to. I just finished up a design leadership through emotional intelligence course that was about the same kind of, dealing with your feelings and other people's feelings and communication. It's called Design to Be, and that's a great podcast as well.
Cool.
Highly recommend that one.
Nice.
Man, I already have too many podcasts to listen to, and I'm gonna have to add that. It sounds really good.
I know.
I'll put it in
I'm
the
always
chat.
frustrated by podcasts. I'm like, I want to listen to all the podcasts, and I only have this much time.
I know. Yeah. Too many podcasts. People need to slow down on making new podcasts.
Yeah, I get really happy when like podcast hosts announce they're going on a vacation. I'm like, sweet, I can catch up a little.
Yeah, that's a great idea for like road trips. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Awesome. So this has been really great. Thank you all for joining. It's the top of the hour and we are going to transition to our core team meeting. So if you have another meeting, I understand you have to hop off. It's been great meeting you.
Yeah,
I
thank you
hope-
so much.
Yeah, I hope to talk to you again at the next coffee break or one of our next meetups.
Yeah, welcome,
Thank
Juliana and
you.
Misty.
Yeah, thank you. Have a
Great.
great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.